Hello and welcome to Chasing the Target.
What's up, boys?
What's up? What's up? A crazy day in Australia and in Adelaide in specific. The rain came. It looked like to play spoil sport. Bangladesh were on top for majority of the game, but India just completely turned the screw after the rain. Whatever we were criticizing them of in the previous games, they fixed that, especially in terms of their fielding, and they got an important 2 points, man. I have with me Vinay. Vinay, India was on the brink of exit from the T20 World Cup.
Of course, man. It was nerve-wracking, the game itself. And when that rain came down, we were like hoping that there's a game on again. And hopefully India can fight back. And that's what exactly happened. And we were lucky enough to notice the game actually completely getting done, like 16 overs. It was a tough game. And hats off to India to pull it back after what the start that Liton Das had given, my boy, who I had predicted yesterday.
Yeah, you had predicted Litton Das in the comments over there, and he batted really well, man. It was crazy batting, offside, leg side, coming down the pitch and smashing it over covers as well, clearing the boundary with ease. Again, the square boundaries weren't as big in Adelaide. Like I think the longer one was bigger, but he made use of that. He knew exactly where to hit the ball. And there's a shot down the ground as well to Arshdeep in that Arshdeep's first over in the second over of the innings.
3 boundaries in the first over itself, putting the pressure on the young guy, and he's been your leading wicket taker, so everyone knows like the kind of form Arshdeep is in, and putting that pressure actually could have paid off really well. And the innings that he was playing, he was hitting them all over the park. Like there was not, I think he hit them over covers, he hit them behind point, he hit them behind square leg, like behind third man, like everywhere, literally all over the park. So it was just a treat to watch when he was batting. Of course, it was being an Indian fan, you don't want to watch that. So yeah, it was that kind of a game, but thankfully that rain came and the momentum kind of changed. And I think it was what was needed for India to bounce back.
Faiz just joined us. हम मैच इधर उधर घूम ले रहे थे, समझ में आ रहा क्या करूं. हल्लक से निकाले, कांटा यहाँ फंसा हुआ था, यहाँ से निकाल के मैच जीते.
शेर का पंजा अटक गया था जी, शेर का जो नाम था बड़ा रहता था, अटक गया था यहाँ पे. लेकिन in some weird way, rain actually helped us. बच गए अपन. केएल राहुल 50 मारे बावजूद भी.
भैया कुछ भी बोल दो, केएल राहुल मैन ऑफ द मैच है आज. क्या थ्रो फेंका वहां से, क्या थ्रो फेंका भाई. बुल्स आई ब्रो, बुल्स आई.
मैन ऑफ द मैच
स्टैंड में भाभी थे, स्टैंड में भाभी देख रहे थे.
मैं वही तो बोल रहा हूँ, मैन ऑफ द मैच केएल राहुल नहीं है, वुमेन ऑफ द मैच उन्हें. उनका गुड लक चार्म है जी वो.
भैया वो फ्रेश ऑफ द प्रेस में आएगा ना, क्यों अभी से किरकिरी कर रहे तुम.
फ्रेश ऑफ द प्रेस नहीं है, प्लेइंग टू इम्प्रेस है वो.
Punter is agreeing with Vinny, which is very strange, but he's agreeing with him. And Rana Singh KL bhai performed the way I performed in front of my crush in school days. But yeah, man, that run out changed everything. And first, like you said, the rain, basically the rain kind of went in India's favor because उन्हें फिसल जा रहा था पिच पे बेचारा लिटन दास, and वहाँ से momentum shift हुआ. But even till the end, you could see that it was a good batting wicket. Taskin आके फोड़ दे रहा, like someone else or the other hitting those boundaries. It went till the last ball. So I think the fielding was the difference for India. They took their catches, they got those runouts, they took their half chances, which they didn't against South Africa.
The funny thing is Deepak Huda came out as substitute and उसको सबसे tough catch उसको मिला शायद मेरे ख्याल में deep में जो उसको मिला. I mean Surya Kumar took two beautiful catches. Deepak
Yeah,
Huda
Deepak Huda.
पांड्या की उंगली पांड्या की उंगली चली गई थी लेकिन जो दीपक हुडा अच्छा भाई लाइट्स में ब्लाइंड हो जाते हैं वहां पे तो आई मीन जबरदस्त कैच लेता. आई थिंक पांड्या रहता तो ड्रॉप हो जाता था शायद. बट नहीं, क्रेडिट टू इंडिया फील्डिंग बहुत ज्यादा दिल लगाए. इवन रोहित शर्मा ट्राइड टू गेट लाइक अ कैच बट फिर फिसल गया उन्हें भी ग्राउंड पे बेचारा. एंड फिर बट आई मीन बांग्लादेश के नजरिए से अगर अपन देखें दे स्टार्टेड ऑफ टू अ फ्लायर लाइक हमारे विनय भाई बोले लिप्टन दास जो भी है. आई थिंक मैंने बोला था ना लिटिन मेरे को याद है साहब लिटिन दास बोले थे. एंड ही रियली परफॉर्म अमेजिंग. मैं थोड़े टाइम को टीवी बंद कर रहा था बिकॉज लाइट चली गई थी ऑब्वियसली तो मैं बंद नहीं कर रहा था टेक्निकली. बट उठेगे 66 को ये क्या है यार ये पिंडा बारिश भी हो रही है. एंड बॉयज स्टार्ट आप सब मैसेज करे क्या हो रहा है ये. अरे यार वो पिंडा गया खत्म. दिस इज ऑल व्हाट वी बीन scared of and that's coming true. But thankfully उन्हें वापस आया. उसके बाद बस बांग्लादेश I think after Litton they just really broke and collapsed. Couldn't get themselves together. But someone who lower order batsman tried. Sohan tried. Tuscan tried till the end and they brought it very close to the wire. But a beautiful over by Arshdeep where वो छिक्का खाने के बाद भी dot ball he held his head unlike the Pakistani bowlers. But
Yeah, I think it was the 11th, 12th over when they took Pandya took 2 wickets and Arshdeep took 2 wickets. That put extra pressure on Bangladesh, and despite the extra boundaries, they couldn't get the boundaries in the last 2 overs. We'll get to individual performances winning in our eye test section, but
I'm waiting for eye test because I need to mention something.
I have to mention something right now.
We're going to mention that person after Don comes because Don it's going to be a heated debate. So
No. That person is later. I want to mention something else for eye test first.
Okay, fine.
I just want to mention that.
I
just want to mention one thing that Ryan Musaddiq कुछ नहीं कर रहा था तुम्हारा प्लेयर. आके छिक्का मारा फिर चले गया.
मेरे बात सुनो. India Bangladesh is becoming the biggest rivalry in Asia. These guys go to the wire. 2016 World Cup also it went down to the wire. The Asia Cup in 2018 went down to the wire. And now again this game. So Bangladesh, they're not in the greatest of form, whatever it is. In recent times, they played decent in this World Cup, and against India, they always they take the game to another level. Were you impressed with the way they played? And today, I didn't feel they were too emotional. Yeah, they messed up again like they usually do in pressure situations. But I felt under Saqib, they were a bit more calmer today, and they had the game in the grasp. Few things didn't go their way.
Okay, let's start the eye test section right now, and then I'll mention.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our eye test.
So I'm gonna start with the Bangladesh, like you mentioned about Saqib, and what I was not impressed today about his captaincy was when the guy who was hitting 60 runs at the start, he was a right-hander, and the left-hander was always like all the lefties that came after were all struggling. So why would you not promote someone like a Musaddiq or a Nural before all these left-handers that came? Like the left-handers were actually struggling more than the right-handers, and the angles that people were the bowlers were bowling, I think it was more convenient for right-handers to actually score more runs. And that was one big mistake I thought Bangladesh did in between, and that's where they got a little bit pressurized. I feel that was one thing, and the other thing was, sorry,
Taskin bhi mara chhakke magar.
Taskin भी मारा, वो लास्ट में आके वो घुमाया. ऐसे तो तुम इसको भी बोलोगे. शकीब भी मारा, शकीब भी 2 चौके मारा ना.
हाँ, तो मार लेफ्ट हैंडर्स मार रहे बाउंड्रीज.
But I think it was more like the righty को देखो, छक्के किसने मारे? सारे righty नहीं मारे.
I think it's more to do with the player, bro. Vinay, like Litton Das was just.
I think it was, the thing was, for me personally that time it was more suited for the right-handers to come in than the left-handers, and I think left-handers were struggling more at that point. It's just a biased opinion, I feel, but
was good.
I personally think that it would have played better in their favor if they had their right-handers, and also the way he used Shariful. I think he didn't utilize him properly, like bringing him for 1 hour in between, getting spanked
Yeah.
here and there, and it wasn't like planned bowling. Like Tashkin was bowling amazing. Mustafizur actually bowled really well as well, even though he got hit at the last. Even Shakib himself, he was desperate for that Rahul wicket at that point. That's why he was bringing him in and stuff. I think it was more of a desperate situation that he created in the bowling lineup, and that's why they got hit for 184. I think they could have bowled a little more intelligently and used their bowlers more intelligently in the when they were bowling.
Yes, Faz, you want to add something?
But like I feel like they were whenever, in all due respect to your comment, but these guys were not hitting the right line and length. So as a captain, you're gonna obviously look to your next bowler. Abhi Taskin is something out of I don't know where he's coming and kya line length dal raha hai. Virat Kohli ko bhi pareshan kar diya. Like he was, but if you look at the next over by Shariful, it was a disaster. He was getting smacked, and I think Shakib just thought that let me try the other bowler. If agar isko bhi pad rahi, then there must be like let's just bring on the spinners to be safer. तो मेरे हिसाब से उन्हें तस्कीन को बहुत जल्दी बोल आउट कर दिया. आई थिंक
Exactly.
तस्कीन को बोल आउट करना was not the right call because it was again that kind of thing like save your best bowler for the last, ताकि बीच में इन लोगों का जो भी है वो नहीं करना था. बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू दैट शरीफुल को 1 ओवर देख के टेस्टिंग कर रहा था उन्हें जस्ट टू सी किसकी लाइन पड़े और किसकी लेंथ पड़े. हसन, despite getting Rohit Sharma in his over after dropping that catch, he did manage to get Rohit, but he still got smacked. So I think from Shakib's perspective, it is all right. But only thing I have a complaint with Shakib is not bowl Tuskin completely. But third over में उन्हें fourth over जब डालना है थोड़ा थक गया था वो. थोड़ा हो गया था कि नहीं भाई अब एक साथ पूरे ओवर दला दे रहे हो और खत्म कर दे रहे हो. Then there will be no variation. Like there will be no person who the batsman is going to stress about. Shariful को they were easily playing, Hasan को easily खेल ले रहे थे. Shakib played decently, उसका bowling अच्छा था. But yeah, I just said I think वो line length नहीं मार पा रहे थे बोल के वो थोड़ा panic हो गया और कुछ नहीं.
In my opinion, if I look at the positives from Sakib's captaincy, I think the way they pull things back in the death overs, the way Mustafizur bowled as well, they bowled really well, and India could have got to 200. Yes, then Ashwin came and smashed it, but there were particular moments where India could have got to 200, but he made sure, not himself, Bangladesh in general, they did bowl well in patches, and yes, there were going to be overs. When you're going to play a team like India, there's going to be overs, you're going to get hit. Sometimes you have to give opposition that, like you have to credit the opposition in that way. I just feel the way Bangladesh competed today, it was very impressive. I was very impressed with the way Bangladesh played because people had written them off. Normally, we always say Bangladesh, they are dark horses, or they'll upset someone here and there. But in this going into this tournament in Australian conditions, you didn't expect them to take India this close. They beat Zimbabwe, they beat Netherlands. Now they're going to play against Pakistan. So yeah, they lost to South Africa, but in general, they played some good cricket in this tournament. And of course, what Vinay is saying is also right, and that's too perfect. That's for them to improve, and they'll have to learn from that. But considering all the circumstances, I think Bangladesh have done a good job. Abu Bakr is in the house. KL Rahul haters किधर है बाबा इधर ही है top right मेरे Mr. Faisal इतना I mean KL Rahul haters इधर ही है but man Abu Bakr, man, what a Instagram photo. I mean what a throw from KL Rahul, bro. What a throw from KL Rahul. He completely changed the game. Also that 6 he hit, was it over covers Vinay or extra cover, the one he hit on the offside?
आगे बढ़े भाई.
हाँ एक सेकंड रुक जाओ उनको ठहरने दो 2 सेकंड गरम है आज या मैंने
I think over point it was. Oh no, look who's here.
अरे boss, how are you doing, man? अल्लाह में था मैच, अल्लाह में.
मेरे को कभी भी नहीं था. I was always confident जीतते बोलते. तुम लोग सब डर के बैठे थे खाली.
Again, Pagdo is always confident. But, say the honest truth. What were your feelings when Litin Das was hitting?
When Litin Das was hitting, actually he was hitting it very well. So I was enjoying the innings. Right?
What about when it was raining?
When it was raining, I was Fajr ka time tha yahan pe. So just started praying and just hope to God, and God took care of the rest. Okay, but realistically, I was a little scared. I mean, honestly, when, when he started scoring like that, it was a little worrying. I was also extremely worried about the rain more than us losing the game on the field, because if the rain wouldn't have stopped, and with how the tournament has gone, I thought if the rain wouldn't have stopped, it would have been a little bit of a problem for us. But luckily, I think the rain came back. The target also wasn't like terrible. I mean, it gave us something to work with, and I think
Yeah.
at the end of the day, once that run out happened, I think it was just uh, for all the beef that KL Rahul has got, I think he's earned some respect today.
And
No.
yeah, you nailed
No.
it.
No. No.
Fielding is the difference. You have to take your catches. You got to take your half chances,
Yeah.
which they did with the run out, and that's the difference. And that was the difference between this game and the South Africa game, because I think the equation was similar, 68 or 40 odd, and. This is where India they turned it on, man. After the rain,
No.
normally you expect the batting team to have an advantage, but the way India fielded, the way they bowled. Also, one guy I also wanted to mention before we go to Don. Don, we have already talked about Sakib. When I talked about him in the eye test, I'm going to talk about Shami. I think Shami's spell was very important. That wicket that he took, the field
Yeah.
placement. Surya Kumar was wider. He wasn't
Yeah,
straight.
yeah.
That was a very important wicket. Yeah, I know Shanto was playing slow, but he did hit a few boundaries. He was getting rhythm, and I felt the way Shami bowled. He's coming back from injury, so that's why I'm giving him extra credit there. I have a bias for him, but in general, I felt he was good today. And Shami has a tendency to get smashed. Has a tendency to get smashed, and that's what I get scared about whenever he plays a T20 game. He'll give you an over like 15, 20 runs, but he has that wicket-taking ability, and I felt he bowled really well today. So he was one guy, that caught my eye. Yes, Don.
Yeah. But one guy who disappointed very much was Hardik Pandya. That guy has been
You almost jumped the gun,
underperforming.
bro. You almost jumped the gun. That's what Don was going to talk about. That was his eye test. That's why I'm coming to that.
So honestly, I think that Hardik Pandya gets a lot of beef because of his off-field antics, right? If this was a performance by someone like I don't know, whoever else, if Ben Stokes got 2 wickets at crucial time, everyone will say, "Oh, best batsman in the world." He didn't get a chance to bat today. Okay, Hardik. I mean, yes, he got a chance to bat, but it was in the end, and you had to up the ante, and the runs were
It
scored
was
and everything.
lame
It
dismissal.
was not.
It was
Yeah, it
very
was
lame dismissal.
he threw his
Oh yeah,
wicket.
tennis shot खेल रहा हूँ मैं cricket field में.
Bhai, like
And this
Wow.
is not the first time he's gotten
And it
out
was
that
not the
way.
last
This is
overs.
not the
It
first
wasn't the
time.
last overs. Yeah, it wasn't
He
even
had
the
to
last overs.
he had to up the ante. They were trying to get the runs, So it was all
Yeah.
Yeah,
about
there was a no
trying to.
shot. There was a no-brainer shot. It wasn't up the
Yeah.
ante. You can't up the ante by
Let
giving like catching practice.
him
He
explain
was
himself. Absolute
up
run.
the ante. Up the ante.
Yeah.
So basically, I think that every game you can't expect him to perform. I think the important game was, yes, he couldn't. He supported Virat when it was needed at 31 for 4, right? So he scored. He played well
But
over
we
there.
would have lost that game if he got the strike. You remember that part also, right?
But not necessarily. Maybe अगर लग गए तो you never know ना. You hindsight में तो कुछ भी
Yeah,
बोल सकते हैं ना.
we saw the struggle in the last overs. He
Yeah,
of
but
course steadied the
last
ship.
over में last
He of course
exactly.
steadied the ship. But what he's in for, being the best all-rounder in the world, with that coat and with the kind of power he has in terms of scoring and stuff, he should not have struggled that much. And even Virat himself, he was like worried about that. Why is Pandya struggling so much? And I have to take the onus now, which he
Did
took,
you
which paid
did you
off.
see
But
his reaction to the wicket? Did
exactly.
you see Kohli? क्या मारा भाई बोल के था क्या मार दिया तू बोल
Don,
के
bolo. Let Don complete
So
because he said he has a lot of facts.
basically, what I'm saying is that he does step up in big games. This is my feeling. Today, with the bat, it didn't work. In the field, 2 important wickets at a time where it could have gone either way. Yes, he got hit for a couple of boundaries here and there, but everyone got hit for boundaries. Arshdeep got hit for boundaries. Shami got hit for boundaries. Bhuvi got hit for boundaries. Ash got hit for boundaries. How can you only complain that Arey Hardik Pandya is getting hit for boundaries? That is the thing first. Okay. And second, he took 2 important wickets and he kept the flow going because Bhuvi's overs were done. They had to get another person to bowl these overs. The spinners were not working because it was wet. They were not able to grip the ball. So Ash ke 2 over the, but you had to bowl 3 overs out of Hardik. And I think 27 runs plus 2 wickets. I think he did almost equally as well as Arshdeep and Shami, if not better, because he had a better strike rate. That is my assumption behind it. I think yes, I
That
think
is your
he's best.
bias behind it.
There's
That's
no
not your
bias.
assumption behind
There's
it.
there's there's no
नहीं नहीं
bias.
उन्हें
दो विकेट लिया,
उन्हें
दो
चेन्नई
विकेट
हाँ
लिया,
उन्हें
इंपॉर्टेंट
और
विकेट
उन्हें
लिया.
चेन्नई का भी नहीं है उन्हें चेन्नई का भी नहीं है
हाउ तो मेरा उसको मेरा बायस नहीं है. आई फील लाइक
वही तो बोल रहा हूँ मैं
उसको
सही बोल रहे
ज्यादा
हैं आप मैं आपके साथ हूँ मैं आपके
ओके,
साथ
उसको ज्यादा स्लैक मिलता बिकॉज ऑफ द फैक्ट दैट हिज ऑन फील्ड ऑफ फील्ड एंटिक्स में द कॉफी विद करण एपिसोड एंड
That was my
हिज
favorite episode,
हिज
bro. That's
हिज
my favorite
स्टाइल
episode. Now,
हिज
I'll
नहीं
talk
भाई
about that. I'll tell
देखो
you. I'll tell you what it is. From my opinion, मैं ज़्यादा कर देता हूँ. I admit, मैं वैसा करता हूँ. But I'll tell you what it is. For me, is you tagged him. Not only you, a lot of people have tagged him as the best all-rounder in the world. He's not the best all-rounder in the world. He's not the best all-rounder in India also right now, currently. He's not. Okay? When he does something, then you can say that. And this is why he's not the best all-rounder in the world. He doesn't have that consistency to consistently win you matches, right? I've seen Ben Stokes do it. I've seen Jadeja do it. Kapil Dev is the best all-rounder India ever had. He's won you a World Cup. He scored that 175 against Zimbabwe. He can become, by winning an IPL, people have named him as best all-rounder in the world. I cannot digest that. That's the only thing. And this is why you told me, देखो bold तारीफ करो उसका मैं तारीफ करा नहीं करा.
हाँ करे भाई, but
How
what I'm
next ball
saying
क्या
is,
हुआ? Next ball क्या
but
हुआ?
what I'm saying is he has
Mustafa
he has come out and he's done better than people give him credit for, even in the Indian
So,
jersey.
see
so
No, I agree. Listen,
just for
Don, I
fact's sake,
mentioned
एक
this.
मिनट
just for
डॉन की
fact's
बात से
sake, okay, since he's been back from injury, he's been a better bowler than a batsman. Okay, let's make that clear. He's been bowling a little bit better than his batting at all. The second thing, if you actually notice, the player who gets subbed most times, even in a T20 or any game, is Hardik Pandya.
आज भी
He,
आज भी
and
13 ओवर में बैठा था
every time
वो जी
he bowls an over, he has to go out. How is he your best all-rounder when he cannot contribute in the field?
भाई आदमी के तकलीफ पे नक्कू मलाक करिए बेचारा तकलीफ एंड देखो भाई लाइक देखो डॉन के पर्सपेक्टिव से जो मेरे को समझ में आ रहा है ऑलराउंडर है बैट से नहीं कर रहा तो बॉल से करेगा बॉल से नहीं कर रहा तो डॉन भागी के आ रहे हैं पर्सपेक्टिव the second thing is भाई मुस्तफा नाराज इसलिए क्योंकि उसका फैंटेसी पिक था और उन्हें नहीं परफॉर्म करा
नहीं मैं नाराज नहीं देखो उन्हें लिया 2 विकेट लाइक I think he's a good player. I think he's a very important player. He's the most important
Exactly.
player in this Indian team. There's no
Yeah.
one more important than Hardik Pandya. अगर उन्हें इंजर हुआ लग जाते you know
Yeah.
he's somebody who can think, but like listen, when they say he's the best all-rounder in the world, I also take other formats into consideration. I take overall performance, winning games. That's all I'm saying. So my argument is only on that level, and still he has to prove himself in ODIs, in test matches. He hasn't done that. That's why
I think
and it's not just Don and Ashish. There's a lot of people who say it, that he's the best
I think that image that he's got that clutch time में उन्हें आके परफॉर्म करके जिताता वो एक 2-3 मैच जो बीच में करा उससे
भैया मैं
बहुत ज्यादा
ऋषभ पंत
हाइप
को देखना करते हुए
सुनो भैया
Rishabh Pant is also a
मैं
very
पूरा
good
बोल
player.
मैं पूरा बोलता हूँ भाई हार्दिक पांड्या के बीच में नहीं चले आता पूरा बोलता हूँ मैं रुक जाओ एक मिनट वो वजह से ओवर हाइप कर दिए यस इंडिया में ऑब्वियसली होता वो कि भाई आप ऐसा लेट्स से धोनी जब शुरू में एक आध दो खत्म करे बेस्ट नहीं दे दिए थे उसको ओवरऑल विद टाइम उन्हें ऑब्वियसली कर दिया अब भाई को क्या कर दिए 1-2-3 मैचों में क्लच में आके खेल लिए कर दिए वो 2 फोटो चले गए आजकल सोशल मीडिया की वजह से उन्हें बहुत ज्यादा हाइप हो गए बट the thing is he is required in the team for stabilizing it. Yeah, so you can't argue with the importance that Hardik Pandya has, but according to you he's just not he's not doing it according to what they
Vinay's argument is different. Vinay is nailing me for his performance today. Vinay's opinion and Don's opinion are contrasting, but like they both have valid points. My point is not to do with today. It's just like my point is overall.
It's the overall tag. It's the overall tag. The expectation is too high, being with that overall tag that he has, because of which he gets that criticism as well. If you criticize Kohli because you call him the best in the world, you call him the king, you call him the goat and everything, so you have that kind of expectation. So similarly, Hardik Pandya will also have that kind of expectation when you give him that quote and title, right? So that's the main criteria. If he wasn't given that title, I think he's an essential player. He's a very essential player for Indian setup. He is a absolutely necessity at this point. We don't have any seam bowling all rounders in the team, and he's a vital cog for the entire setup.
Yeah,
So
and
absolutely
मेरे को
agree with
होना
that
वो runs
point.
like I like today Hardik Pandya one innings he doesn't this game doesn't go this deep. He
Yeah,
scores 20 of 12, 20 of 10. This game doesn't go that deep. In crunch situations from the 2019 World Cup, I've seen him give his wicket away and everything. So that's why I'm a bit because I feel he's really talented. I think he has the
exactly.
ability to be the best all rounder, but he's not right now. He needs, and that's because of his mind and silly mistakes.
Okay, I have something to clear. Okay, I wanna make this very clear at this point in time. I just go along with Ashish because I know that it bothers Musti and Vinay a lot in our groups, but I don't think he's the best all round in the world. That I have to clarify. If that is the expectation, if that is the thing,
Musi, you
I
have to
have to
play
say
this in the group just in
I
case.
have to I have to say I love my boy Ashish. I love my boy Ashish, and I also think somewhere deep down he also agrees. But इन्हें भी सताने करता और आप भी सतने आपला दोनों सज जाते बोल के ना करता. Okay, so obviously if you compare him to the requirement of a Hardik Pandya in the situation of the Indian team today is he's the only batter in the top six who can bowl. Right.
Yeah.
So that is why he becomes to the balance of the Indian team. He's almost impossible. When I mentioned an essential cog in the team. Right. So with that perspective, I also don't think that he's as bad as some people claim him to be. I think yes, maybe batting mein thoda struggle ho raha since the injury. He's bowling a little bit better, but he always picks up wickets. He's been
Yeah.
consistently picking up wickets. Might be a little expensive, but he's consistently picking up wickets. And he has also won you important games. Steadied the ship in the Pakistan game, won you the Asia Cup first game against Pakistan. There are a few other games that I can talk about that he's done well, in which India has probably not won. They've lost, but I think overall, I think he's been a very, very important player in the team. And I think that is the respect that he should get. I think he gets a little too much criticism on that front as well, even though he's an essential
Only
part
from
of
me,
this
only from us though. Like I don't see many
Yeah,
people criticize him. And
exactly.
I have done. I'm telling you honestly, I really like the guy. Like that Coffee with Karan episode is like touched my heart. It was one of my favorite episodes. It was that one was like I still remember the dialogues of that. I watched it like before it went off Hotstar in 6 hours. So I watched it when it released. So I'm a big fan of that. For me, it's just that what he did with Gujarat, he needs to translate that for India. He has to be consistent because you rely on him. And also the injury thing, it does frustrate me because he's so important. He's so important to the team. In big tournaments, he gets injured or something. Okay, fine. I'm not blaming him, but sometimes you need to become fitter. You need to. How do you improve? How do you someone like a Ben Stokes, for example, or any other all-rounder in other teams like a Stoinis, they come back stronger. They make themselves stronger. So that's something he has to learn. And in tough situations, he's the one. Unich game nikalenga. Like even in that Pakistan game, I was banking on Pandya, not Kohli. I didn't think Kohli would hit those sixes. I thought Pandya would hit those sixes, if you ask me. And
Yeah.
Abu
And
saying,
and just to add one other point, Don, when he was back in like when India played Australia in that series and stuff, the T20 and stuff. If you remember when he was playing just as a batsman, he was the most dependable batsman at that point. So that's why the expectations are a lot more on him than what it is based on our comments at least.
Abu Bakr saying, I think
I agree.
this is just searching for a skateboard every match. Hardik's game is high risk, high reward. Match winner है. If few games he doesn't perform, it's okay. I agree with that. But
Yeah.
10 से 2 छक्के नहीं बनते यार. वो मैच फंस गया था. हल्लक में आ गए थे. पसीने छूट रहे थे. नहीं बनते 2 छक्के. 10 से अबू बकर कुछ भी बोल दो.
एक छक्का एक चौका था.
Hardik's
2 छक्के
level
नहीं थे.
bowler who can hit 140 clicks. Taskin नहीं बनता. Like bro, this match could have easily turned Arshdeep. If one bad ball, one wide, and this game would have turned, and India would be out of the World Cup. So that's what I'm saying. That stature, uska nahi banta. I'm being very harsh, maybe, but nahi banta. Taskin se 2 छक्के या जो भी है छक्का boundary nahi khana. Like you can't do that, man. That's what I'm saying.
Bro, how are you expect? Everyone is hitting, no, bro. The bat, especially after the rain, it becomes easier to bat, more conducive, right? To bat,
No, it
it gets
doesn't.
a little bit easier to bat. Because they cover only the pitch, right? So there that comes
I
onto the
agree with
bat
you.
a
This
little
has
bit
happened
better.
before. I'll give you another thing. RP Singh also got hit by Sohail Tanvir those 2 sixes in the T20 of the final. But I don't rate RP Singh that high, man. Faiz rates him very high because he got purple cap, but I don't rate him.
bro.
But I rate RP Singh very high, bro. हाँ फैज बोलो कुछ बोलना चाह रहे
तुम्हारे माइंड में तुम रेट कर दी उतना है, शायद पब्लिक ने रेट करी होगी उतना। मेरे को
नहीं
लग रहा
नहीं,
तुम और
और बहुत से
2x
पूछो।
रेट कर दिए है
नहीं
भाई,
नहीं,
I would have
डेफिनेटली है,
definitely gone with Hardik only
एक्सपेक्टेशंस
for
है।
that over.
हाँ भाई, एक्सपेक्टेशंस है। एंड देखो भाई, लाइक डॉन सेड, विकेट्स लिया उन्हें, क्रूशियल स्टेजेस पे विकेट लिया, वो मिडिल
या
ऑर्डर को खत्म कर दिया उन्हें, फिनिश कर
हाँ,
दिया। 2 छक्के
फिर
नहीं
बोल
बनते
ऑर्डर को
मेरे
भगा
भाई।
दिया उन्हें।
2 छक्के, फिर क्या हुआ, ओवर के बाद चले गया, उंगली में इंजरी है बोल के चले गया बोल के, क्या अब टूटी उंगली रख के उन्हें आपको जिता रहा, मैच खिला रहा, वो सोचो यार भाई, कमिटमेंट क्या है टीम को, पॉजिटिव देखो यार।
देखेंगे पॉजिटिव।
उसकी वजह से वो दीपक हुडा कैच हुआ।
अगले
वरना
मैच
क्या
में
होगा कुछ नहीं पता।
अगले
उन्हें
मैच में दीपक
definitely
हुडा
पकड़ लेता
खेलेगा,
था catch, लेकिन वो
लेकिन
No,
मुस्तफा
100%, yeah.
But one thing I want to ask to Don or Musti about this one, the thing that he's wearing, is that legal? I somehow I feel that it's not, like the bowling
it's
this
not
thing
on
he's
it's not
wearing.
in his bowling hand. No, it's in his left hand.
No, it is on his. So even if it is in left hand, it can give you assistance while fielding, right? Even though he's not fielding most of the times, but it can give you assistance for the fielding.
They must be I'm
मैंने क्या
pretty sure
पकड़ा,
कोई
मैं भी नोटिस करा, वो मैं कुछ बोला नहीं। अर्शदीप का ओवर था सेकंड लास्ट, उन्हें बैठ के पानी हार्दिक
पूरा ओवर बैठ के पानी पी रहा
वाइस कैप्टन, राइट? ही इज द वाइस
you
कैप्टन, राहुल was
No, Rahul is the vice captain.
Rahul,
But
Rahul.
you can't bring a player on in the middle of the thing. उन्हें जो भी reason के लिए गया होगा बाहर, you can't bring him on in the middle of the over.
भैया हर ओवर के
That
बाद
is the
वो बाहर
हाँ,
जाता
so whatever the
अब
reason is
देखो,
behind that, I'm sure that it has been approved by the umpires. ऐसा नहीं है कि no चल
yeah
रहा
yeah
है
yeah
match.
100%,
Yeah,
100%.
of course.
And
walking
Don,
sense
I
है।
will be the one who will be the most upset if he gets injured before the thing. He's the most important cog right now, so I'll agree with you
अच्छा
there. But let's move on. We've
Yes.
अच्छा
discussed the
मुस्ती भाई,
highlights.
मैं
Yeah.
कल क्या बोला मैं, लेकिन कल एक
Yeah.
जने खेलेंगे कैसा भी करके, सेंटिमेंटल इंडिया गोइंग टू गो विद अश्विन। अश्विन खेला नहीं खेला,
हाँ, खेला ना अच्छा, and he batted
भैया
really
जो
well. Bowling
बैटिंग किया,
wasn't bad.
जो कॉन्फिडेंस आया
बैटिंग
बैटिंग में
का,
उसके आजकल।
बट
Batting अच्छा, that's why he's in the team,
Because
because
he
of
gives you
his
that
batting.
with a little bit with the bat.
But Don, I want to talk about Ashwin only because you're a big fan of him. Batting, like I have to apologize that it was a good pick in terms of batting. He gave you those 10 runs, but bowling wise, I'm still finding an issue, man, because of the breakthroughs.
I think bowling was today. I think today would be a little difficult. I think overall he's been a little below power in this
Today wasn't that
tournament.
bad.
Today,
Yeah.
I think today also the fact that the pitch was not helping, it becomes
Yeah.
easier for the batsman to pick the bowlers. And if it's a little bit, I have a feeling that Ashwin's biggest problem is in his head. I think he overthinks every situation a little too much, and that sometimes is the problem of his downfall. I think if he tries to keep it simple, he has been below par this tournament in terms of the ball with the ball. I think he has to up his game a little bit more. He has to flight it a little bit more. Take 1 or 2 extra risks, because I think he's becoming that medium pace bowler. He's giving 95 100 clicks. He's not slowing up the pace. He's not getting the batsman to make that extra that extra precaution or whatever you want to call it. But I think he's making it a little bit easier for the batsman by overthinking a situation of the game situation ke hisab se. I think he's struggling a little bit over there, but I'm pretty sure he's still the player to go to for the next couple of games. Maybe for Zimbabwe you rest him and bring in Chahal and see how he performs. But I think for the big games, I still think that with what he adds with the bat is unparalleled, and he can give you 4 overs with the ball. He has to be a little bit better with the ball though, for sure.
Yeah, Vinay, I want a quick opinion on this. Then I need to go to Faiz with another topic. Vinay, tell me.
Yeah, so what he is happening, according to me at least, is that he's not able to spin the ball like he usually does in the subcontinent pitches and other pitches and stuff. He's bowling more flatter at this point, which is why, and he's trying a lot of variations. I think those are not paying off, and because of the bounce, those are coming really short at this point. I think that's more of the reasons why he's getting hit a lot these days.
But one thing
And
I'm curious about is that if you look at the Zimbabwe Netherlands match as well, there were not much purchase for the spinners in that match also.
Yep.
Like you had Dilidi and I think Van Meerkeren, and from here it was Chitara who was getting the better bowling. So I think my question is, why won't you go with the Harshal Patel in that situation where he has variation and stuff and he could do it? Ashwin ko bitha sakte the, but kai ko nahi bithaye. That is my question.
I think they're lacking confidence in Harshal Patel because of those bilateral series. He got hit a lot, and they're just lacking confidence in him. But I agree with you.
4 overs out of it.
I don't think that's a valid point. If you're backing someone like a KL Rahul, then I think you have to back someone like a Harshal Patel, who's upcoming,
But
and we've
Ashwin is
seen
giving you those runs which they think that maybe Harshal
Yeah,
Patel. That's what they
13
thought.
and
run liya, bhai. I'm
they
not
are
saying कि
bowling.
बड़े runs नहीं
So
थे. I'm not,
So
yeah.
just
Yeah, but
to Faiz's point, there is three fast bowlers, and then you have Hardik Pandya, fourth fast bowler. You need to change up as well. And Aksar is not rated right now is in terms of bowling that much. So that's why they need someone like an Ashwin to bring in that variation. But what Ashwin is doing wrong, I think, is to he's bowling much flatter. He needs to toss it up
Flatter,
a
yeah.
lot more, right, and slow up the. These are big boundaries. He needs to utilize it more rather than bowling those flatter ones. And the same thing, if you remember, like I'm gonna go back to the last India Australia series, like when India was playing ODIs, Chahal was bowling much flatter, but when he came as that concussion sub for Ravindra Jadeja, in that innings he picked up four because he was tossing the ball up and he was actually looping the ball that time. So I think Ashwin needs to try that. He needs to make those chances more, and then probably he'll bowl better in these pitches at least.
yeah, Faiz, I'm gonna come with you with another player because Hardik Pandya को 20 मिनट बैश कर दिया बेचारा 2 विकेट भी लिया but someone who's not in form right now and despite scoring 50 already in this tournament is the captain Rohit Sharma. We have to discuss him because
Yeah.
it won't be right otherwise. Like of course that doesn't mean like we want these players to drop or anything like that. But what is he doing wrong? Is he playing too many extra shots again? Today he got a chance and then he played a shot again. Is that pressure of KL Rahul getting to him, or is he just not being able to find the boundary and is just not in form? What is it?
I think for me, that again would be a scapegoat kind of situation where he's just going to blame KL Rahul for not, performing, and I have to take the pressure. I don't think that's
Yeah, I
correct.
don't.
The experience, he has a lot of experience. I think he's rushing too much to get a good amount of runs in the power play. I think if he is के power play का जितना मैं जल्दी utilization करूंगा, जितना जल्दी I find the gaps and sort of secure a 40 to 50 in 6 overs, I think my team in the lower order will be able to ease their way through, and I think he's taking that pressure rather than not KL Rahul performing and all of this jazz that people are coming up with. I don't think that's the thing. He just needs a good innings where he's not giving away those cheap catches and those just looping it up in the air. He needs to play good cricketing shots. I think he's in a very hurry to hit sixes and sort of play like an IPL kind of innings where he does it 30 to 35 मार लिए मैं अपना काम कर लिया वो attitude से अगर उन्हें खेल रहे then I think that's the biggest mistake that he's making, because if you see the last two innings have been similar. आ रहा छिक्का मार रहा फिर हाथ में दे दे के चले आ रहा. So he's not reading the field, he's not reading the conditions, he's not taking his time rather than being in a hurry to sort of utilize the power play. That's what I feel.
That's a good point, Don, because if you look at Virat Kohli, his strike rate was also very low. He was like 20 of 18 balls or something like that, very low. Until he got to 30, that's when he sped it up a bit. Do you think Rohit Sharma maybe needs to go back to that formula, or will that be a negative impact on the team because they're not utilizing the power play?
I think the capability that Rohit has, I think if he takes an over or two to settle down, I think he can really, up the ante from there. Usko 6 over की जरूरत नहीं है. In 2 overs, he can do what others can do in like 4 or 5, right?
Yeah.
So I think to Fair's point, I think it's a fantastic point where he actually takes an over, maybe 2, just settle down a little bit, and then he has enough or more ability to find those gaps and boundaries, even if this field is spread out, whatever may be the case. Similar to someone like a Surya Kumar who can, irrespective of field, can find the gaps and can find the sixes, and no boundary is too big for him if he gets going, because when 100-meter ke sixer marta, we've seen that in the past. So that is something that I think that is something that he should probably look into a little bit more, because the middle order is also not like it's out of form. The likes of Virat and Hardik and stuff. I mean, Hardik, I know we've had a big discussion, but the likes of Virat and Surya Kumar, I think have shown in these past games that they are providing the runs, right? So maybe even if it takes a little bit longer, I still think that 180, 190 is still achievable.
Yeah, and the thing is, Kohli is also now accelerating. I think before, when he started this temperate thing, Kohli was not in form at all. He was not being able to hit the ball like this sweetly. So I think he had that pressure as well that, listen, I need to like score all the runs. It's going to be thing. But now he doesn't have that. So maybe it's just taking a bit of time. And like you said, he can play a Kohli type innings, but he'll accelerate way faster. So that strike rate will double in quicker time. And that's what he has to do.
Same thing with KL Rahul also today. If you see his innings till like 20 or something, he was hitting a 6, but when a run a ball, rotating the strike, that was very important in the power play. And then Rohit Sharma was with him at that time, and he was looking at the condition where KL Rahul managed to still make a 50, and Rohit Sharma was played much better cricket with him than him in this World Cup. I think he should have performed better. KL Rahul ke agar comparison mein kar do.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like you could say
So
that, oh, we're being very critical and everything, but I'll be very honest with you. The reason why I'm pulling these points up is I believe in Rohit Sharma, I believe in KL Rahul, Hardik Pandya. But the thing is, why I'm pulling these points up is because India have not been convincing at all in this World Cup.
Not at all. Not at
They
all.
needed some luck in their favor. Bal Bachare. It's exciting as a fan. I'm enjoying it a lot. I prefer this than dominating and then losing in a semi-final. But and you might even win a World Cup like this, but you have to pick these points up because it's not been convincing, and these are the small reasons adding up. Vinay, boliye.
One thing I've noticed in the last couple of dismissals that Rohit Sharma has, we talk about him as the best batsman of short deliveries, right? He's been actually getting out on these short deliveries in the last couple of games. So
Yeah.
I think that is a factor. Uh, Being the big boundaries, he's not able to clear them. So that is something that he needs to probably put some extra efforts on the net. And if you remember, Virat Kohli did that. He got the sidearm bowlers that the Indian camp has, and he asked them to bowl short to him so that he can play those. I think that's what Rohit Sharma needs to practice a little bit more at this point, because that's where he's getting dismissed, especially in the last couple of games.
Don, two things happened in the nets yesterday. KL Rahul and Virat Kohli had a very long conversation, and Virat Kohli was explaining to him that worked out. Another thing was the bowling coach, or I think, or the batting coach, came up halfway to the pitch in the nets and was bowling Ashwin high full tosses, basically preparing for that pull shot.
Yeah.
And he hit, I think, 30-40 deliveries. I saw 20-30 deliveries he hit, and then he played that shot today in the game. So they're practicing these specific things, and it's good to see when these kind of things come off.
I think that if T20 now has evolved into such a game where it's these minute things that matter. The more you practice on a specific instance, and the more you learn from your mistakes and improve as the game goes on, I think that becomes very important. I want to bring up a point that I found very, very important, I think, and we have to give a lot of credit to Ravichandran and Ashwin for that. I know I wanted to talk about it before, but I forgot. But I think it's the fact that the Ashwin factor. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Litin Das could have easily gotten the 2 yards that he missed out the run out for had he been going in. You know how they were. Ashwin के ओवर में versus Shami के ओवर में आराम से there was a little bit of he was walking up ahead even before the ball was being bowled. Ashwin के
Oh,
over
the
he was sitting
Vankade.
inside. Yeah, he was sitting inside, and he was well inside the crease but he got out by 2 yards, even though it was a direct run out, taking nothing away from KL Rahul, even though a direct run out. But I think a lot of credit has to go to Ashwin because the start was not given. Had it been that loose, if it was someone like a Shami or an Arshdeep ke over mein, the start would have been come and he would have made that crease at that point in time. So itna criticism karte hai, but this is the impact of Ashwin. And Ashwin effect, irrespective of kya hai, you would notice these small things and it matters. And I saw it on Twitter and I was extremely proud that there are some people who are actually looking at that from that side of things, and the batsman getting undue advantage in a batsman's game. I think something that Ashwin has started to people to think, yes, people are still going to criticize. There are going to be people who are going to be on the other side and not appreciative of that at all for a long time. But I think that these are the things that matter. And in an important game where a person was going high, all guns blazing to get that important wicket at the time that happened, I think that changed the game in India's favor. So I think all the criticism he's been getting for the past few years is all worth it, because today it changed the game out in a World Cup, very important, crucial stage.
Yeah, and also one thing that I noticed in the game as well, the Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli having a discussion, it was what do you call it, animated discussion, and they were both discussing, and it just shows that they're both are going for that goal. And I haven't seen this in a while in terms of tactics, because
Yeah.
Virat Kohli, since he's not been captain, he doesn't get, I don't know, just maybe that's my opinion. I haven't seen it from the angle which I watched, but I haven't seen that discussion between a former captain and vice captain and the current captain. But today I saw that. I saw that
They want to
clearly
win, bro.
on Instagram as well. So them discussing, I think that it just goes to show now they have, and I think this happened because of maybe Bumrah's injury and thing. India know they don't have have the strongest team in this World Cup. They know they have holes. They're going to struggle even against Bangladesh. I think they've accepted this, but as a unit, they're like this now, and this will be very important going forward, because when you're going to play against England, New Zealand, Australia, it's going to be even tougher. And if these two are on board, at least discussing, because maybe Virat Kohli was making him think in a different direction, and maybe that helped him. But this will be very important going forward.
They want to win, bro. They want to win. They are willing to sacrifice whatever it takes to win. And that is fantastic to see, because I think at this point in time, all egos, everything is set aside. In the 2019 World Cup, we saw we were doing very well, but there were ego clashes, and that's why maybe, I mean, I'm not saying taking anything away from New Zealand. It was a difficult situation, whatever the game. But at that
Yeah.
point in time, I think that they lost because the team was not together, but the team is together, and that goes a long way. You might not be the best team, but if you're a team that is together, you can go a long way.
Yeah. And Vinay, you're
You
happy
might,
with
you might not be you might not be Manchester City, but if you're Arsenal, you're good.
Why
Vinay,
that last?
बस
Vinay, you're
बोलना पड़ता
happy
है.
with the passion they showed and thing today, because we saw Surya Kumar, we saw all these guys. You were very upset in the last game, even though I just felt it was bad fielding. But you were saying
No,
they're not hungry that. But today, it looks
last game, the intention I felt was missing, and this
but even
game was
today, bro, where was the intention when
intention came.
passion?
That run out brought that intention. I think that's what pumped the team up,
वही बोल
right?
रहा हूँ.
And
It's not the intention, bro. It's basically जब पिट रहे थोड़ा प्रेशर आ जाता है, you make mistakes. यहाँ पे like यहाँ पे भी वही और बुरा हाल था compared to the South Africa game, उन्हें जो मार रहा था
yeah,
लिटिल
but
दास.
that's what cricket is all about. Like even when you're down, you just need that spark to bring you back up, right? And that's what was very evident in this game compared to the last game. That's what I brought up.
I think वही विनय भाई के पॉइंट में ये बोलूंगा कि भाई when you feel कि ना the match is slipping away from you और एक बंदा आके ऐसा रन आउट करता, all due respect to Ashwin, man carrying the run, whatever that was done by, but I think that you can't take anything away from the run out, and
Exactly.
then after that you saw Sky with those two beautiful catches and how he was like pumped up कि चलो जीत गए बोल के, and
Yeah, that's what I was
animation
talking
होना.
about.
So that is
Exactly.
what Vinay Bhai is saying, that run out basically ignited the fire. The fire went into Sky and Sky started shouting. So ये सब चीज़ें हैं which adds to the victory, and Deepak Huda भी a good thing that he was there. अगर पांड्या होता और drop करता तो आज
नहीं
आज ये
पांड्या
podcast
लेता
भाई,
वो
वो देखो
पांड्या
पांड्या
जब लिटन
100%
दास खेल रहा
पकड़ता
था
वो
जब
catch.
लिटन दास खेल रहा था, नो वन एक्सपेक्टेड इंडिया टू विन. सब ऐसे बैठ के अरे ये मार रहा है तो मारने दो यही चल रहा था. जैसे ही वो रन
Two
आउट हुआ,
innings.
वहां से गेम पूरा बदल गया पूरा, right?
बिल्कुल.
That game changed because of that run out, and that's what brought them back.
So maybe the opposite happened in the last game, that the drop catch deflated them. It gave them the opposite
Of
impact.
course.
It doesn't mean
Yeah,
that they
and
don't
that's
have
where
the
you
desire.
need to. That's where the other
But
team members need to bring you back up, and that's what is important in cricket. It's very important aspect
But
in
maybe
cricket.
they
That's the
tried and it just
you go
didn't
to
happen.
any coaching manual. You go through any coaching manual. That's the first thing that every coach will actually tell you, right? And
हाँ, तो
that is something that is very important for the game of cricket.
I completely
basically,
agree with you, Vinay, but I think even they would have tried, but sometimes it just doesn't work on the field with the pressure situation. I think that's what, and then after that,
Yes,
the run
man,
out chance
yes.
also. Run
That's
out
what I'm
chance bhi
saying.
hua na, though there were two important things that they missed out on. So I
Yeah.
think even after
Exactly.
the Kohli ka catch back, agar there was a little bit of, they tried a little bit, फिर Rohit Sharma ka run out ka chance हुआ, then, things just, वो deflation
Didn't
हो
work
गया
out.
बाद से,
Yeah,
then yeah, it just doesn't work out. Sometimes it
that's
happens.
why I said intention was missing.
Attack.
The intention
but
got missed at
uh,
that point.
what a,
नहीं समझता है
coming
नहीं.
on the point
हाँ,
of
बोलो first.
intention. Coming on the point of intention, अभी इंडिया और ये बांग्लादेश का, but what about the intention of Zimbabwe? It looks like it's चले गया पूरा. Because match wise में अगर मैं देखूं तो they got it a lot wrong, but अगर मैं deep in depth अगर देख रहा हूं तो सिकंदर रजा performed well, but he hit certain shots that were unnecessary given the requirement of that player at that time in the middle over where you
Someone
needed to
mentioned this yesterday.
stabilize the innings. Stabilize करने का innings था, आज भी मौका था उसको. He understood the conditions pretty well. He was hitting the short balls out of the ground, but उन्हें अपनी विकेट फेंक के आ गया. I mean, I think at that time you require, अगर अच्छा एक सिकंदर रजा and I think Burl who were at the wicket, if they sort of whipped up a good innings, run a ball, ये run a ball जो गेम है, आई थिंक इन बहुत अंडररेट कर दी है चीज. जल्दबाजी में रन बनाने की जल्दबाजी में 118 तक इजीली अगर आप देखो, they could have reached 130 to 140. They were not even able to finish the overs. 20 overs भी बहुत just अल्लाह बोल के they managed to reach it. So I think Zimbabwe really need to look into that. They're still not out completely, probably. I don't know, net run rate बहुत खराब है उन लोगों का. Yeah, but आप नहीं बोल सकते अपने को हरा दिए अपना बहुत बुरा. Cricket जैसा गेम है, but yeah, with all due respect to India, but I think that is somewhere Zimbabwe have flawed. Even in the match against Bangladesh, they collapsed the same way. So they're not trying to build innings, but more like how we saw that the Sean Williams came and he built the innings. So what cheese I think Zimbabwe really need to work on, and credit to Netherlands when they owed out Zabardast Khela, and I think their main bowler was DLD Zabardast line and length.
Don, before you say something, I just want to say, Fez, you asked the question to Vinny, but you answered it very well. You summarized the whole game. So good job.
I didn't ask the question. I was changing the topic. Changing the topic from.
So to your point, Fez, I think again, Fez, I would like to commend you. I think the second very good analysis that you've done in this episode. Yeah. ये level of consistency बढ़ रही है आपका. We'll talk about your contract after this call. But I want to I wanted to just add to the point of about Zimbabwe. No one expected them to be where they are. Okay. And except for maybe Sean Williams, and if you want to bring in Irvine a little bit, there is all these players are newer players, right? So this is a fantastic experience for them. I think they've learned a lot from this tournament. They've surpassed expectations. I think the Pakistan win is probably the moment of the tournament for them, and maybe the moment of the tournament in general, where a minnow team is beaten a bigger team, and it's been fantastic throughout the way. But we have to just give them the credit of doing so, how much they've done so far, learn from these mistakes, come back stronger in the next tournament. But they've already done enough and more in terms of this tournament. And someone like a Sikandar Raza, he's been getting praise left, right, and center. It's going to be hard for him to come, try and understand. He's also a younger player. He hasn't faced a big tournament. This is his first big tournament, so to say. So these are things that they learn from, and I think that they are a team that in the future, like the likes of Sri Lanka now or South Africa, who've really revamped things around, and I always bring up these teams, but I think that Zimbabwe has now laid a platform to take a launch from here, and they have the capability to do it. So hats off to them, hats off to your analysis. But I think also we have to give them the credit of being a team that has not faced a pressure situation like this, and they have buckled under pressure, and it happens because they are a minnow team.
Yeah, and also I think just to quickly wrap this topic is that I think where Fez is coming from, because they beat Pakistan and then they took Bangladesh, because he had the expectation that they'll beat Netherlands. But where Don is coming from, also that might have taken a lot out of them, right? That Pakistan game, that Bangladesh game, I think emotionally draining, physically draining. They're not used to this kind of level of cricket, so maybe it could be that. But very quickly, we have 8-9 minutes left. Let's say 10 minutes left in the show. So let's try
neighbors.
South Africa versus Pakistan. So it's tips and chips time. Get your fantasy picks ready, everybody. जल्दी विनय जल्दी करना है. अच्छा एक मिनट I'm going to divide it. Okay, I'm going to divide it. I'm not letting everyone pick all the teams. So
good idea.
Yeah. So me and Don will do. Don, who do you want to do? It's your choice.
Let's go Pakistan. Since I already South Africa में मुश्किल होती.
And Faiz and Vinay will do South Africa. Vinay, shoot! Jaldi.
South Africa, Decock and
Vinay always
Decock and Nokia.
You
always have Decock on your mind. Nokia. अच्छा, Faiz बोलो.
Lungi and Didi and David Miller.
Lungi and Didi. Yeah, Don.
Babar Azam and Shan Masood.
I'm going Haris Rauf and Chachu for the win, bro. Tomorrow Chachu Rabada ko wahan pe. Don
SCG Sydney hai ji. SCG
tomorrow, bro. Huh?
Yeah, kal barish hai ji.
The one problem is a little bit of rain, and second thing is, to Faiz's point, I think they might consider bringing in either Wayne Parner or Lungi Ngiri to sit to bring in Shamsi back, because Sydney will give you spin purchase.
Sydney will give you okay, it is Sydney, so South Africa's attack might not be as lethal, but the thing is, I think both these bowling attacks are outstanding. And yes, Pakistan messed up in this tournament so far, but that doesn't mean that the bowling attack is not good. Where do you guys rate, if you compare man for man, whose bowling attack are you favoring going into this game? Yeah, Don.
This is tournament's two best bowling attacks. Pakistan's batting has been poor, but I think their bowling has been relatively decent. I think Shaheen has not even reached his 100% capability, and they're still doing well. Naseem and Haris Rauf is having a tournament to remember. So I think it's just fantastic to see, but I think South Africa has the edge over here a little bit in terms of their bowling. I
And
think
that's
tomorrow
also maybe
Pakistan
because of conditions.
conditions also a little bit, but I think tomorrow Pakistan's going to win.
Yeah,
Big
I
call.
agree with you there. Vinay, bolo.
Pakistan is gonna win, man. They're gonna come all guns blazing. They are desperate for the win, so I think they're gonna probably win this game.
Whose
But
bowling attack is
whose
better?
bowling attack is better?
Bowling
The
attack,
question is,
I
yeah,
think South Africa in terms of overall composition compared to Pakistan's.
Vinay पगड़े
शाहिन
को
शाह
घुमा
अफरीदी
देगा.
अभी इंजर्ड है. इंजर्ड में कि तुम लंगड़े
देखे
को तुम कराओगे बॉलिंग.
विनय भाई विनय भाई 10 मार क्या
घुमा
है,
देगा
2 मार
सबको
क्या
विनय.
है.
तो अभी
2
देखो
मार.
फ्रेश लिख के ले लो. अगर साउथ अफ्रीका जीती, he'll say, look, I told you they have bowling better bowling attack. If Pakistan wins, Vinay will say, I told you Pakistan will win. Vinay
नहीं.
has all bases covered.
विनय इज लाइक द रेन. इधर उधर है, कभी भी आ जा रहे.
अभी भी आके. Yeah, Fez, who has a better bowling attack?
Wait, Vinay bhai said they're more, united when compared to a Pakistan bowling attack at the moment. ये लोग ज़्यादा साथ डाल चुके हैं and their conditions are similar to that as South Africa. तो थोड़ा वो upper hand मिल जाता कि भाई it's similar to what back home, and that's what we saw in the last match as well. But yeah, I think South Africa will win with what their अभी जिस तरीके से उन लोगों का फॉर्म है, पाकिस्तान को चिंता कर देने वाले, and they want to because they want to be group top. Hopefully.
Yeah, and I think Fez has the most valid point. Us three are going more with emotion as well, like just thinking like they have to change
Motive.
things around.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like they won't be in the tournament at all, and like so we're going with that. But if you look at it man for man, overall batting, bowling wise, Pakistan,
Yeah.
I mean South Africa has the edge in batting for sure. Like not even
Yeah.
an edge, much better. But then we always remember South Africa also have a tendency to choke. If India took the chances, they might have not chased 130, and that's what's giving me some hope for Pakistan to win this game. And I definitely think that they can put South Africa under pressure.
I honestly thought I was going to be the only one who said Pakistan wins. I didn't expect Vinay and Musti to follow suit, but I agree with Faiz's point. I
Boss
want
के
to
पीछे.
I want to just bring up one point, and this is an important point, I think, because India and South Africa are probably the most likely teams to make it unless something unforeseen happens or whatever. But do South Africa or India want to finish table toppers? Because on the other side, we are talking about New Zealand and England, likely. So do you want to face England in the semifinals or in the finals?
I mean, that won't make
So
a
what
much.
happens if New Zealand top the group? Then you're going to play England or Australia. You're not going to play New Zealand.
Exactly. Exactly. So I'm asking you if you want to play England. Because with
I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something. I learned my lesson in 2019. Okay, I wanted to play New Zealand in the semi-final, and the whole of India wanted to play New Zealand. There was chants that we're going to where is it? Manchester mein tha match. We're going to Old Trafford. And everyone is excited going to play New Zealand. I learned my lesson. It doesn't matter who you play in the semi-final, bro. You just need to get your best.
I mean,
game out.
given the context of the even in the context of the tournament, also you can't predict who's going to win. Like someone like a Zimbabwe spurred something that we didn't imagine. So I think semi-final रो या group stages ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Obviously added pressure है कि इंग्लैंड से अपन अगर खेल रहे हो ना इनफॉर्म है, but इतना ज़्यादा टेंशन नहीं. आओ जाओ सेमी में भी आ जाओ, फाइनल में आ जाओ, देख लेंगे.
Yeah, and I also think my answer is like that because that time I was super confident with the Indian team. Now I'm not that confident with the Indian team. That's why I'm saying
2003 याद है तुम्हें? 2003 याद है जब केन्या आई थी सेमीफाइनल में? इंडिया इतनी खुशी हुई थी केन्या आई थी करके.
Even that we was nervous. I was watching that game in Fez. I still remember the game before the group stage game India Kenya का उसमें हाथ में आया था मैच. गंगुली इन लोग सब याद नहीं है.
ले लिया था स्टीव टिकोलो और कौन स्टीव टिकोलो ले लिया था.
इंडिया शायद जीती थी वो मैच भी, but it was very
मरते.
I was not comfortable with the Kenya match.
But yeah, इंडिया पे भरोसा इसलिए नहीं आ रहा. देखो बड़े टीम से अभी देखो पाकिस्तान को असाइड रखते हुए पाकिस्तान का गेम was because of one person only, and that was Kohli. So let's keep that. But उसके अलावा उसका ऑपोजिशन कौन रहा? नेदरलैंड्स हकते नहीं, वार्म अप मैच था. बांग्लादेश विल ऑलवेज अपने अगेंस्ट है. तो वो जो बड़े टीम्स की बात कर रहे हैं अपन, जैसा न्यूजीलैंड हो या इंग्लैंड हो, अभी वो खेले भी नहीं भाई. आई एम प्रीटी श्योर अगर श्रीलंका अपने ग्रुप में होती तो अपनी हाथ में आ गई थी अभी तक. अगर श्रीलंका रहती थी तो मजाक नहीं कर रहा हूँ. and Sri Lanka is in a group where Australia, but still they're like performing very well. So credit to Sri Lanka. But अगर यहाँ पे अगर श्रीलंका रहती थी तो I think अपना क्वालिफाइंग जरा और मुश्किल था. लकीली अपने का अभी बांग्लादेश और नेदरलैंड जैसे टीम है. अब जब अपन टॉप ऑफ द लैडर वाले से आ रहे हैं, then that's going to be a different thing.
That's a very good point, but I think यही है कि India will, like no one will call them underdogs, but they will go, in my opinion, to the semifinals as underdogs. But that's the thing.
Yeah.
When you go in like that, right, against a bigger team, you can choke the bigger team at times. So sometimes in semifinals, you can, if you're going with that underdog kind of tag, then it might. But Faz, you're absolutely right. I don't think they've been challenged from the biggest teams in the tournament, apart from South Africa, and they failed that test. So, New Zealand is going to give you that test. Australia, England, whoever comes in, they're going to give you that test. Just to wrap it up, विनय, तुम खबर रहते हमारे, तो ये बताओ मेरे को खबर ये नहीं होना. I just want you to know, in your opinion, who are the most likely mathematically to qualify. And Ravi Shastri completely confused me. He said, if India hold on, Arshdeep holds on, India are through to the semis. And then he changed his statement while the ball was getting bowled the last. So what is going to happen? He said that, oh no, they're still not in the semi-final. So what is the scenario?
So the scenario is Pakistan can still go into semi-finals if India loses the final game and Pakistan wins both the games.
If Pakistan wins both games and India loses the Zimbabwe game, Pakistan will go through.
Yeah, Pakistan will go through because they have a good run rate.
Yeah.
Right?
I think what will matter.
And South Africa, if they lose their last game, then if they lose their last game, like right now they're going to lose with Pakistan, and then if they lose their last game, then India and Pakistan might go through. Right? And if not, there is a chance of Zimbabwe qualifying as well. If Pakistan wins against South Africa, but they lose their last game, and Zimbabwe, if they get a victory with a good margin, even Bangladesh has a chance because they're at 4 points, but their run rate is really bad.
Tell me this: if South Africa beat Pakistan tomorrow, is Pakistan out?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're out. So so right now, if Pakistan win tomorrow, then they're third in the race. Then they have a chance.
Zimbabwe is also in the race, as well as Bangladesh. All 4 teams are in the race. The only team that is definitely out is Netherlands.
So
basically, what I summed up from this is Sunday के दिन मालूम करेंगे क्या होता.
अच्छा, संडे को बारिश पड़ गई तो?
संडे को बारिश पड़ गई. संडे का कौन सा गेम्स है?
India Zimbabwe.
India Zimbabwe. If rains, then India goes through.
Yeah, because there is a chance. But
what about Bangladesh playing a good innings against Pakistan? अगर बंगालियां सही में पाकिस्तान को पिंडे मिला दिया तो?
बांग्लादेश का रन रेट बहुत पुअर है, -1.2.
ओहो, फिर तो उन लोगों को by 100 runs को जीतना पड़ता.
But yeah, I think.
And in the other group, Afghanistan is definitely out. So is Ireland. So the race is between the top 4. Whoever wins goes through.
All right, whoever wins goes through. I think that's very well summed up. That means that every team, like a lot of teams still are in it. Pakistan are still in it, which is crazy. I didn't know that. And they were so upset that India lost that game. So I thought Pakistan were out, but they're not out. They're still in it. And right now it looks like India, South Africa will qualify. But let's see what happens. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you guys for joining me. Is there any last thoughts you wanted to say? Anything?
I think
no, man. One person changed the momentum of one person today, being in the stadium. So I think credits to that person being in the stadium.
Some better.
Vinay is like he's an angel.
Vinay bhai, some better than the others.
Hard on.
I just wanted to say, मेरा पूरा point ही भूल गया मैं विनय के point से. I wanted to say that even though Pakistan performed somewhat poorly according to Faiz, hug के punches for 14 overs में वो 95 का target, those 6 overs में जो बचा है, उसकी वजह से run rate अभी अच्छा है and they are still in with a shout.
Total 92 रख के 15 का वैसे दिख रहा था मैं run rate के साथ मेरे को क्या करना है.
That's true. And that shows that they have the bowling. Like, they restricted Netherlands less than India did. So credit to them there. Tomorrow, big game. I hope the rain stays away. And we'll get you the latest from tomorrow. Hopefully, thank you guys for joining me. Enjoy the cricket tomorrow. Hoping for a cracker. And it's been a really good tournament whenever the rain stayed away. So that's what we're hoping for. Have a good night, guys, and take care of yourselves.